So welcome back. It's A4U Expo Munich today. We are talking to a lot of different people here, and right now I'm sitting next to Christoph Cemper, who is speaking tomorrow, actually. And I just tweeted out that I was going to do the interview with Christoph, and maybe somebody picked it up. But Chris, could you say that tweets are the new links?
They're not necessarily the new links, but links that are kind of affected or improved through tweets or likes tend to have a better effect. Actually, Matt Katz confirmed that in March, that they do incorporate tweets into links, but that led to some, let's say, typically overgeneralizations. If you listen to Rand Fishkin or read on SEO Moz, you hear like, okay, you have to do this, and everybody thinks, wow, that's a new magic bullet. I'm gonna go Twitter, all right, or go Facebook. Matter of fact is it works different, depending on the industry, depending on the language, and we do a lot of analysis with our tools, and see that it's not even the same rules within the same industry for different languages. So online dating in France works different than in Germany, works different than in the US, not to speak.
Could you give an example of what is different?
Some of those industries tend to be very, it seems obvious, heavily geared towards social. So people might, tweet about their relations, about their online dating experiences, might tweet it about blogs that talk about online dating, but that's not the case with tax returns, or even the typical financial topics, mortgages, cash advances, payday loans. That's a whole different game, which doesn't mean tweets don't have an effect there. It's just different rules. Yeah. It's those million variables that Google has that are biased differently for every topic.
So when you are working with the links, and you're a link expert, so that's why we talk about this. So if you are working with the links, you should really take into account which market you're targeting, and whether or not you should use social as one of the...
Yeah, exactly. You have to know your playing field. You have to know your competitors. That is why we, when we take up a new link building client, we always do a competitive landscape analysis of his major keywords to find out how does that segment work. Because no client is equal, and usually they have very special keywords. Of course, there are some guys that go over the generic keywords that we understand by now, but the combination of keyword, language, and country work out differently when it comes to Facebook likes, when it comes to tweets, when it comes also to brand keyword links versus money keyword links. This is a whole different game for every industry. And even within one industry, let's say the financial industry, there are different rules depending on the keyword or let's say the sub-industry. Right?
I'm going to play the lazy SEO now. That's too much work for me.
If you play the lazy SEO, of course, you could do a little bit of Twitter, a little bit of Facebook, and, well, get what you deserve. A little bit of an effect, right? And in a perfect world where you have endless budget, of course, you have to do Twitter like crazy. You have to have an army of 3,000 Twitter accounts and use all those to power your millions of links that you get every week anyways, right? But that's not the case. So the question actually is, where should I focus on? What do I start with? And in a limited world, you better, bet on those horses that tend to win, right? And not on all horses, which is kind of a null-sum game then, right?
So like in many cases, you actually need to do your homework before you start.
Exactly. It's about planning out a strategy and execute the plan for many months to go. I always tend to say the first 2 or 3 months in a link building or SEO campaign are learning. It's a learning time. You have to implement a campaign that has to last for 6 or 12 months. And that doesn't mean the budget has to be gone by end of the year. You want to have results by end of the year and pursue that. And if you just go zigzag, depending on what the next big thing is being hyped on some bullshit blog, won't make you any money. Or it's a zigzag strategy.
You're working a lot with clients on links and stuff like this. So you implement this stuff. Do you notice that people find it difficult, or is it something they just do and that's okay?
To find what difficult?
The fact that they really have to think about their link building strategy and actually set it up and think about which market they target and stuff like that.
Well, to be honest, we're a link building agency, and back in the days we used to just build links whatever the client required. So we well, if the client wanted to have 100 links a month with exact one keyword to one page, we did that. Today, I know that's kind of a bad idea to do, because in the end it falls back to me. So what we do today is more of a link building campaign planning, and I would say a piece of consulting for every client, because someone has to think about it. Right? And if the client fails with what he thought is a good idea, well, it will come back to me. And we had some experiences where people blamed it on us on the end. And, well, that's a different position.
So do you still take on clients who say, well, give me 300 links on that page for...
Sure. If there's a client who knows exactly what he's doing, and we've got some really major corporations we work for that have in-house SEO teams, huge teams that know exactly what they're doing, that know how to implement a link building plan, but just need our support. They're working with our link research tools and tell us what they think they should implement, and I just actually need to confirm or act that very easily, and well, then take care of the links, right?
You are talking tomorrow. What time are you talking?
It's actually at 5 p.m. Yeah,
5 p.m. So late in the afternoon. You're going to talk about brands and links too?
Right. The other misconception is that has been around for a year or so, that brand links are all the rage. You have to have brand links to get better rankings because there was a brand update, and well, that's not true, because there are a lot of verticals where more brand links won't help you. If you are an established business that has been around for a while, that has been doing aggressive SEO, you have 90%, 95% brand links anyways. Adding more brand links there won't help. That's the case where you actually have to get more aggressive. And we also have the means to find out how does this space work. And again, it's completely different. Mobile phone plans work differently than cheap DSL plans, for instance, although they're both in the telecom space. But depending on what the others did, how they optimized in the past, and what the current competition, the first top 10, look like, means different actions are necessary. Very often on a keyword level, and we analyze that as well. And if I can say one thing about brand links, there's no rule given for any space at all. And sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. It's also depending on your own site.
You guys, you have a tool, which you of course brand, and then people can pay for that, so that's how you make money. But if I'm listening to you correctly, that you use it a lot to actually get information about what's going on. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Actually, the story of the link research tools is that I, back in 2007, started to develop my own whole SEO backend for myself, because there was nothing around to aggregate all those different sources. SEOMOS, Majestic, Google, Yahoo, and 17 other, sources for link data that we have now, in total 21. Need to be aggregated and filtered, and I was always, really angry about outdated data. There's no point in looking at data that is 3 months old if I want to base my decisions. And different sources have different retention times. So you look at a mixture of data that is maybe 3 months old, 6 months old, 9 months old, and very accurate. And normalizing that was a requirement very soon in the process, in the link building process. And well, in 2009, I decided to repackage that and give it a nice interface, because back in the days it really looked like web 1.0 or 0.5, right? So we had to make that usable, but we use it in our everyday work on a daily basis, the whole team, including me. And a lot of the research, a lot of the insights, especially when it comes to new stuff like Twitter and Facebook, is based on results that I got from link research tools, because there's simply, again, nothing around that aggregates all that together. And you don't want to do an Excel job, spend weeks aggregating that data by hand. It doesn't make sense.
Looking at the data, looking at developments, some people are saying that Google's changing the way they work. Like links have always been kind of the basis of SEO. What's your view on that? Is this going to change? Are links going to be not less important or not important?
Actually, Google changed the way the game works all the time. I remember well, Florida update in 2003 or something, where a lot of people really got, removed from the results for doing obvious mistakes, having footprints, everything on the same IP, having everything under the same account. And you could camouflage and cover your trails back then already. the lazy guys got, booted. And coming back to your question, what do you want to do as a lazy webmaster? A lot of stuff still works. You can really still do in some industries do blatant spamming, do really bad SEO and be successful. But it's being wiped out every month, every year or so. The recent Panda update. A lot of people think Google cracked the code of linguistic in 100 languages at once and suddenly start to understand that that the literacy of written text in so many languages. Come on. That's not the case. So they just, turn some screws on data that became more important today, which is user behavior, which is also related to links because, click-through rates, bounce rates. Of course, if you have organic links that look natural and bring real people, well, that's a different behavior than having some, SEO links. Yeah. So that's where a lot of different factors come into play and, let's say, get remixed to a new cocktail. But it's not that it completely changed. So links will be the basis for SEO for a while. It's just, the weight it has. It's being biased and affected by even more different variables. Yeah.
We're at A4U Expo, affiliates. Affiliates used to always be known as we want links.
Yeah.
Is that changing?
Actually, a lot of affiliates today engage in PPC, as they've always done. And as SEO becomes more complex, I tend to see that affiliates try to take a shortcut buying traffic via display ads, via PPC, buying lists, email lists, simply because SEO needs a lot of breadth and a lot of experience, and it's frustrating to build up an affiliate site just to get it wiped out a couple months later. And if one thing is true, the get-rich-quick scheme by just registering a domain, slashing up a data feed script, buying some links, and having like 5 million pages indexed before Christmas. I think that stopped at Christmas 2004, where I did that the last time, which was really fun and made a lot of money. But that's not the case anymore. So a lot of people that did not adapt tend to jump over to paid traffic. And if it still pays the bill, if you're a smart marketer and can, kind of get your margin out of there by having a special proposition for your site, it makes sense also, right? So I think SEO becomes more and more of a specialty that, well, I would say like the top affiliates still implement, but a lot of people, just don't have the time and the resources to stick to it. Because sometimes you need, I don't know, a couple of months. Get decent rankings.
Takes time.
Yeah.
Okay. You're speaking at 5 tomorrow, then the conference ends. Mm-hmm. When you go home, what do you want to have taken home from this conference? Why are you here?
Actually, I wanted to get a grasp of the current state of the affiliate industry and also a kind of an international feedback. The affiliate A4U, the A4U in Munich, is an English language conference. It's an international conference, and we did a link building training actually with SEO.com, my own conference that I run on Monday. And we had clients there, guests to the training, 30 of them, so it was fully booked. They came from Brazil, they came from Pennsylvania, they came from New York, they came from London, from Poland, Norway, Sweden, Italy. So it's kind of a hotspot from what I would call at least a European hotspot. And since I really cut back in conferences because I'm becoming a father this year, I'm going to marry in July, I think that spirit and that kind of view is what I want to take home, right?
Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck tomorrow on your talk, and have great fun with your newly born.
Okay, thank you very much.